Good morning, dear students. In today's session, we are going to learn how to write a debate. So, students, a debate is an argument or discussion between two speakers or two groups of speakers expressing different opinions about a subject. So, it is a formal discussion which is done on an issue and with two or more opposing speakers. So, different views are expressed by the speakers. And a good debate also includes all the pros and cons of the subject in question. That is, the listeners, they also come to know about different pros and cons of the topic which is debated by the speakers. So, the topic is debated from various different angles, right? And the debate, it tests the ability, the spontaneity, and the intelligence of the speakers. And it also tests the ability of the speakers to argue his or her point of view. So, thus, in a debate, each speaker tries to argue his or her point of view in an impressive and forceful manner. So, when we talk about this debate writing for your examination purpose, the format includes formal address. So, when you write a debate, you have to first address the audience. Formal greeting is to be done to the audience present. Then the introduction is done. That is, in the introduction part, the speaker introduces himself and also the topic, sharing whether he is going to speak against or for the motion. Then the arguments are presented according to the choice of the subject, that is, whether for or against. And then, along with arguments, the speaker is also required to give his points of justification. That is, he is also required to contradict the opponent's point of view. And then, in the end, conclusion is to be given. So, you have to again sum up what you have written in the debate, and at the end, formal thanks, right? So you must keep this in mind that when you begin, you must write the formal address, then introduction, the arguments that you present for or against the topic, the conclusion, and the formal thanks. As per the revised syllabus, students, the marking scheme, it includes 5 marks for debate. That is, for format, you have 1 marks, content, 2 marks, expression, 2. And the word limit for the debate writing is now 120 to 150 words. So do not exceed the word limit. It is required by a writer that you must keep this word limit in mind while writing a debate. So, how to write a good debate? Let's discuss about that. The first thing that a student is required to do is the research on the topic. So, research your material. A good research is always helpful in writing a good argumentative debate. It is better to know what both sides of the issue are. That means you can write a good debate if you know what your subject is and also what the opponent is going to speak on that issue. So, the more you know about what the opponent is going to say, the better it is. So, therefore, collect ample information about the topic before you draft your debate. So, what you can do is while writing a debate in your answer sheet, you can draw towards the right side of your answer sheet a rough column where you can write on top rough hints for the debate, and you can chalk down all the points there it is given. So, you can jot it down there and then sort it out. So, once you have written all the hints towards the right side, then draw out an outline of the main points of your debate. So you then need to collect the required information, outline your main points. So these main points should be exactly what you are trying to get your opponent to believe about your position. That is, start with the strong points of arguments, right? When you have written all the points, look for the points which are strong in the sense and then go for the weaker ones. So under the main points, jot down the sub points. What you can do is when you are writing the hint, you can categorize it according to the main point of argument which you are going to actually convey first. So, accordingly, when you have drawn, once you have done the research work, when you have gone through collecting the ideas, then it is important that you prepare an outline of your debate too. So, once you are done with that, it becomes easier for you to start with your debate. Then write an impressive introduction. The debate that you start, it is an important part that it should attract the audience's attention in the beginning, and it should also arouse their interest to set the tone of the debate. So if you're able to grab their attention in the beginning of the debate, then you are half done. So don't forget to address the jury and the audience respectfully before starting your argument. So the introduction part, it includes the salutation and the topic introduction. That is whether you are going to speak for or against the motion. As for example, good morning, everyone, esteemed judges, honorable guests, respected teachers, and my fellow students. I, comma, then write the name given in the question, or you can write XYZ ABC. Feel honored to have been given the opportunity to speak for or against the topic, and then you write the name of the topic. So, this way, you start an introduction where you give a formal address to the audience, where you greet the audience, then you introduce yourself, and you tell the audience that whether you are going to speak for the topic or against the topic. Now, here, students, what you can also do is that while introducing yourself or the topic, you can also add in the beginning some quotations, lines from certain poem if it relates to a topic. You can also collect some headlines to introduce the topic. You can go for setting a brief example, statistical data to introduce your topic. So, if you have done good research work, if you have good quotations at hand, then you can introduce a topic in an impressive manner. So go for introducing the topic in a good manner so that you are able to grab the attention of the audience. Then is supporting your arguments with example. So it is a good decision to include a few examples in support of your argument. Look for current topics, current example, the things which are going on in the society. Name those issues, collect those examples, collect the statistical data if you get related to the topic. So this makes it easy to convey your point of view to the audience in an easy and effective manner. So keep this in mind, student, that this is the main paragraph or body of your answer. So always begin with the meaning of the topic or explanation of the topic in a brief manner, right? So if you introduce it briefly, you get the scope of giving good examples, quoting good examples there, because you have to also keep this in mind that the word limit is 100 to 150. So do not go for elaborating the meaning of the topic, write it briefly, precisely, and start with quoting issues, start with writing examples so that you can justify your points. It is also possible that you can have too many points or very few points. So when you have a lot of varied points, it is better that you choose a few best ones and write a line on each. And in case you have very few, then explain them in at least 2 lines each, or you can elaborate it. But you should have this clarity in mind that whatever you are going to write, it should be able to actually attract the audience and unambiguously. That should means the audience, they should get clear idea what you are going to speak there, right? It should not confuse the audience. So whatever examples that you give, whatever justification points you speak, all should relate to your topic. It should be relevant enough. So when you are writing your arguments, it should be also written in two parts, two paragraphs. So first one where you are sharing your point of view with examples. Then the next one is counter the arguments of your opponents by referring to his or their speeches. So you have to contradict their arguments, right? It is also an important part. Now, in live debates, you listen to various participants, various opponents, so you get too many ideas there so that you can argue their points. But while writing it in an examination, You need to assume that what are the points that your opponent can speak on the topic. Suppose you are going to speak for the topic, so you must assume certain points against the topic so that you can contradict on those points, and uh, you can actually write your debate there. So hope this part is clear. So when you are writing the arguments, so you must first explain your point of view, and after that you need to counter the arguments of your opponents. So here in this case, while writing it in examination, you need to assume the points that your opponents can speak or can include, right students? So, next is the conclusion. So, this part involves clarification of your statement and stance, along with thanking the audience for being such patient listeners. So, it should be short and precise, right? So, at the end, you must conclude the paragraph again and do end it by giving an appeal, a thought to the public, so that they can leave the place with that thought, the speech that you have given, with those points in their mind. So give something to think over to the audience. So you can end the debate in such a manner. You need to end it in such a manner that they keep on thinking on what you have said. So it should be short, crisp, and should end with an appeal or hope or some kind of question or suggestion. And write thank you at the end. Thank the audience for being patient listeners. Now, here you can see some phrases are written which you can use in your speeches when you are writing a debate. So, these are going to be handy for you. You can use this while writing it. Like, I wholeheartedly endorse the point. When you are supporting any point, in fact, I believe that it is conjectured by many that. So, when you are talking about certain things which are found normally in the society or the beliefs of people, and you want to contradict or you want to support it, you can use this phrase there. It is an established fact that in recent years, when you are giving certain data, you can use this phrase there. I think the saying dash dash applies to the case. If you are quoting any line, any phrase, any idiom, any saying, then you can use this one. No one can deny the fact when you want to justify any point, and you can add this phrase there. There are more phrases which you can use, that is, I support the views that, my argument is that, I disagree with my knowledgeable opponent. Now, when you are contradicting your opponent, so you have to be very respectful there. So you can use these phrases instead of calling the name of any particular participant. You can simply say that I disagree with my knowledgeable opponent. More phrases? May I submit? May I ask? On the contrary, in my opinion, I fail to understand how. I would like to draw your attention to. In short, I would like to begin, or I would like to end. So these are some of the phrases which you can use to enhance your speech. So, hope these are going to be useful for you, and do write these lines when you are contradicting your opponent, like, on the contrary, I disagree with the point of view of my knowledgeable opponent. So, this way you need to put forward your contradiction, right? Some do's and don'ts which you must remember. So before you begin writing, write down all the points. As I've already suggested, that you can just jot down the points in your answer sheet, make a rough column there, write all the hints there. Then make sure after you have written the debate, you double check for grammatical accuracy and spellings, because they carry marks there. So don't be in a rush to start another answer, but yes, do recheck what you have written, check for the grammatical errors and spellings. Underline the main points. It is very important. So use a pencil and scale for underlining. I have already explained this when I had discussed speech writing there also, that you must underline the main points. In debate also, when you have written certain points of arguments, you have given certain examples there, then you should underline that part with scale and pencil. Why scale and pencil? Because sometimes what happens is, if you roughly draw a line, you just cut the line, the statements that you have given there, and sometimes it is misunderstood as that you have just cut the line, you don't want that line. So Just to avoid that, you must underline it properly with the help of a pencil and scale. Presentation part is very important. So write your debate neatly. Handwriting should be taken care of, and proper indentation and paragraph changes, right? So a debate should have different paragraphs for introduction, for arguments, for contradictions, conclusion, and at the last, thank you, right? And it is always guided that you should read a lot of debates to get the idea, right? If you want to write good debates, you must read some good examples also, and have information about the major issues like environmental, political and social issues, health and hygiene, sports, entertainment. So these are some of the topics which are related to your life, so you must have some good information and knowledge of the current affairs related to these topics, right? So gather, collect information beforehand because you may get questioned on the basis of these issues. Then there are some don'ts also. Never mention any of your personal details in the answer, like name, school name, or address, right? So in every writing skill, it is guided that you are not to use your personal details there. अपना नाम, स्कूल का नाम, कोई भी ऐसी जानकारी जो आपकी पर्सनल है वो नहीं देनी है. Never write in one go. That means make sure you follow the right format and make paragraphs. What is generally found is when you write debates, you just write in one paragraph. So this is not to be done. The format, which includes proper different paragraphs, so you must follow it, right? Don't use slangs or short forms. It is always guided that you should be respectful and be polite when you are writing a debate. So, slang should not be used and short forms are to be avoided. When you are writing anything for literature, so you must see that you are avoiding short forms there. And don't write wrong facts, right? If you are giving some statistical analysis, if you are giving some factual data, if you're not sure about that data, then don't write. Instead of giving wrong facts, go for the correct ones that you are sure of, right? So don't give any wrong information about anything in your debate. Then try not to exceed the prescribed word limit, which is of 120 to 150 words, right? From the examination point of view, this is to be taken care of. You must follow the word limit. Do not invest too much time in just this question. Sometimes what happens is you devote a lot of time in writing just one debate. So avoid this kind of habit. Practice a lot, that you give sufficient time to this question and you don't just waste your time in writing one answer, right? So that way you need to have a lot of practice on that. So when we are talking about practice, there is one question that you need to practice. So think over this question. You are Mukul or Mahima of Alps Public School. So, your school has organized a debate on social media and its effects, and you will be participating from your school. So, prepare your views against or in favor of the motion. So, students, you are to write on this topic, social media and its effect. You can choose to write either for or against the motion, right? And there is another topic, and we will be discussing these two topics in the next session. Academic excellence is the only requirement for a successful career. So, write a debate either for or against the motion. So, we'll meet in the next session and we will have discussion on these two topics. So, come prepared, right? Thank you, students. Have a nice day.